All right, let's do this. So it was another day yesterday of running in place pretty much, but buyers gave it up again. It looked like maybe we're going to get the green day. That price would go higher. And I think can assume is the clock ticking here. Uh, you know, down at the 200 sideways. We talked about this head and shoulders pattern that was developing, and then they gave it up again yesterday. Prices were up a little higher, and you can see they're coming back down. And so the cursor is on the hourly chart, the daily chart, I should say, breaking yesterday's low. So after several days, a couple of days trying to go up over here, this was the attempt, and then the gap down, and then the gap up reversal, the start of a bullish turn. Yesterday, losing it. Now it's down. There's some economic numbers at, I think, 9:45 and 10 o'clock. Market's so focused on that, like just looking for, the market, as if the market is waiting for the electric chair, basically, with the recession or whatever's going to happen, the next leg to fall in the bear market, or isn't not, what's the Fed going to do? Just waiting for the Fed from the governor to, so to speak, everything's going to be okay with the next economic report. But we'll see. The way this looks, sometimes they break the low and flip back up. There's more reports, jobless claims tomorrow. So it would make me think that if this continues lower, probably not going to be a lot to the downside from there. But who knows? I had this chart over here just to kind of explain a little bit more about what's going on, that, interest rates moved up. During this sideways consolidation, it was surprising that it held up as well as it did. I thought maybe institutions are they blind to this, or are they just thinking this was not a big deal, and interest rates were going up, but it was holding here. Like, well, maybe this would roll back over, but it didn't. And so now it's stuck at 4%. Those are the 10-year interest rates. And so as this goes sideways, the market's going sideways, waiting. Which way is this going to go? Right? Is it going to break this little low here? Is it going to take this out, which the markets will go down? So set some alerts, up above yesterday's high, down below, the day before that's low. And that'll be one of the heads up as to which way things might be going. And of course, the dollar's down here a little bit, so gold's up a little bit. We'll take a look at that. But looking at the weekly chart, we're just trading inside of last week's range. So if this starts going up, this is going down. And while it might stop at that pivot, it's all going to depend on where this stops when it starts going up. Meaning it's got plenty of room to come up here. So it could easily come down toward these lows if it breaks out. And if it breaks down, up, to what extent it goes up before sellers come in again. So either way, on a short-term basis, the upside, and the downside could be relatively substantial, so right now things are just marking time. Could be a calm before the little storm that's coming, so to speak. Which way is it going to go, and we'll watch things as they unfold. Right now, as you can see, again, sellers taking control, and as things move up toward not even significant resistance, which means institutions are nervous, but not nervous enough to really dump it. So they're just waiting. They're waiting to see the last chance. Maybe it goes up a little bit. They can get out at better prices. It's just not a good pattern. And I don't even know anything here that's really happening that would be anything of substantial. Was that thinking like even if this started to move up, that it would get back up through these highs here. So I much prefer to see things go down, maybe get some kind of washout, and from there we'll take it from there. We've formed this bottoming type of a pattern, and something's got to give here. I think it's getting close to whatever's going to give is going to give. So continues to move down toward this support. I'm just looking where this is at here. It's getting pretty close to that reversal day at the 200. What is this down? It's not down much. All right, so futures. Coming down here, and look, this topping tail bar right there, that rejection to go higher, look, it's coming down. There's support here. After this, you think it's less likely that it's going to hold. And it's more likely that, especially if it gets down to this area, it's going to come down here to this pivot, which at this point, it's questionable whether it'll hold because it's been going sideways here, right? The ideal scenario for bounces, counter trend bounce situations is for the daily to be doing this, right? All these concepts apply to all time frames. So what we wanted is the daily to come right down. And part of our discussion yesterday in the green room was understanding these moves and the implications of this move, right? So that was the base. This was basically the start of the move. And what's going on right now, when we talk about prices staying in the lower half, the lower third, that's exactly what they're doing. This was the momentum move down. It's staying in the bottom and inability to go up, which is like opening up the door to possibly coming down here, right? To this low, right? This low down here, a more substantial low. So again, we'll see. Right now, we're still in the trading range of just topping sideways here. So where does that leave us with SPX? Well, I was pretty surprised to see that there was like no premium up above and, a decent amount down below. So the bullish case is kind of evaporating, because there was, last I looked, was like some premium at 40.15, and nobody in their right mind is going to do that, because if buyers were to show up here, maybe you could get a big green bar, and that could change the whole scenario. Right now, things don't look so good, like they're going to go down. And so there's premium at 3,900. Jake posted there on in the social media there. And at least you've got this pivot here. So 9:45, 10 o'clock, there's some ISM. I can take a look here. Is S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, right? And then an ISM PMI at 10 o'clock. So you got 10 o'clock numbers, got construction spending, ISM manufacturing, new orders at 10 o'clock. manufacturing price, something about crude oil at 10:30. Maybe that's not a big deal. Right? There's a bunch of crude oil numbers coming out at 10:30. So this seems like more ping pong to me. Right? What's ping pong? Looking at up, down, right? What's been going on here? Up, down, in a range. So it is what it is, right? All right. So 3,900, I think makes sense. I don't think it, even if it gets down there, you've got a pivot. And if the futures keep dropping, right, into closer to 10 o'clock, then, if down below the premiums increase, wait a little bit. You want it best to be below the whole number. Well, that works out the majority of the time. But the whole number, just like this 4,000 yesterday, it came up there. I told you about the big open interest there and puts and calls, and it got up there, and it hung there, and right, looked like maybe it could continue higher and complete this bottoming pattern where it could come up here. Nope. Right back down again. So SPY has 395 support. If SPX starts breaking, SPY is going to break, maybe overnight right here. We've got this, we're jumped up there last night for whatever reason, and it might eventually, it may hold there for a moment. It would make sense because what I just said, it fell from here to here. Maybe it takes out that low and it bounces back up again. And it's not a great situation, with this going sideways as it is. We got news pending. The 200 MA is still lurking down here. So I just don't see the motivation for institutions to get really aggressive on the sell side, or definitely on the buy side. If they were going to get aggressive on the buy side, they would have held yesterday, pushed it up here, and it would be going up today. And that ain't happening. Move along here. NQ's going sideways at the bottom of the range, right? Directionless. Do they step up here again? Well, we'll see what interest rates do. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's see what the 10-year. It's just side. It's green, but same thing in a trading range. So there's really no mystery what's going on here. There's just indecision while the markets are waiting for more news. That's where we're at. Russell. Just waiting. Look at this. It's perfectly what I've talked about before. Wide range bar down. Sideways in the lower half of the bar. It gets rejected. I mean, this would take like some miracle. And what would the miracle be? Some magic news coming out that, the coast is clear for the moment and maybe to get this turned around. But it's just a terrible pattern for going up anyway. You can see the trading range in here. It's coming, it's coming down to this initial part of the range. So this is directionless. The Dow clearly broke last week. It's just dangling here. It's the weaker. Right. Goldman Sachs and the Dow. That looks pretty damn bad. Right. Whatever was going on, it was something in the news there. But that's a gigantic, big bearish bar. That's not good for the market. Now, it seemed to be isolated to them for the moment. Wells Fargo here, if it'll come up. I'm not going to wait for that. JPM. Right. That's at the top of the range. So sellers might come into that. It hit the 50 and that pushed up. Just all financials. And that looks like it's going to roll over. XLF. Tech. And again, it comes down to interest rates. You got to keep an eye on what the interest rates are doing. If they don't get out of a range, probably this doesn't get much out of a range either. Right. Transports. I mean, not much good going to happen there. Chopping sideways. So you can see it's everywhere. Institutions, traders are waiting for the next shoe to fall or some news again that's going to give them some hope or dash the hopes. Right? And then things can move, in the other direction. Now, as far as our internals go, things are improving. So that's good, but sentiment hasn't come down here. You see the S&Ps, this little cluster of what's going on over the last few days. We've already looked at it, but breaking below here, and I'm hopeful that it comes all the way down here. And this gets to an extreme, and then it can start repairing the damage. And at that point, I think maybe, can get some kind of more substantial thing going on there, but we'll see. Wish it could resolve one way or the other. It's like slowing death, Rob says. I hear you. I mean, look, markets are like this way, and I've been through this numerous times. It's frustrating. The trades that you could normally do maybe aren't working out so well. Premiums are shrinking. We've been looking for credit spreads. Premiums have not been there short term anyway. So, you're and part of the struggle here is that we're looking to make the money, and the trades that were abundant before aren't so abundant now. And we've got this indecision period, and at some point it will break. And it always does. So we just have to wait. That's all we can do. Right? Silver bouncing up here a little bit. Nothing. It's in support, but the dollar is up near a little. There's nothing of significance here, but it's down a bit. So gives silver didn't move much. Gold. That's oil. That's doing nothing. Everything's doing nothing. Gold bouncing a little bit, so maybe for day trades. This is starting to make a turn. I think this will be clearer next week as to whether the dollar starts coming in a little more and whether this closes well on a weekly basis. And the last thing I'll look is Bitcoin. We'll see if a few opens. This is holding up pretty well, but nothing's moving. And so looking across many different trading vehicles, nothing is moving. So we'll make the best of it. Some of these stocks moved well yesterday related to Bitcoin. So we're looking at this to see maybe this is not doing anything right now. Maybe it's going to be an inside day. So we're going to keep an eye on this for a continuation pattern to move higher. Let me just see what's open here. Dan's not going to be with us today, guys. Open. There isn't much open in the weekly options trader. There's LMT, which, where's he got the stop? 470, 78. I think that stop, if that's down at all, the stop's going to get hit because it got done here. And Cisco, that's in the gap fill. So where's this right now? That's retesting here. So this is down at this pivot. I'd be interested. This would be a good one to see if it actually could flip back up again. He's on a big enough boat, Rocco. I don't think it would take Jaws to take that boat down. Later this afternoon or midday, I'll get it. He sent me a picture of the boat, a nice big boat. Show you everybody. All right, what else was open here? So the ETF letter is long TBT, and we're waiting, right, with this chop to see if it's going to go higher. Yeah, Rob, it'll just be me at MT Live, so you'll just have to listen to me for an hour. Well, he was here for a couple hours yesterday, and I guess whoever's running the party down there in Costa Rica rented this big boat. So he told me he's going out on the big boat. We're waiting to see if this thing goes one way or another, the market, right? And all right, MOH. This was a short. This is doing great. I think this will be time to cover this today. Well, maybe it keeps going down, right? But this was a retest pattern. That's dropping nicely. QDEL. This is doing nothing. Down at the bottom of the trading range. RELY. This is doing well. Long RUM. I know we updated RUM in Telegram. This is a short that's moving down nicely. RVLV. This is a long. Looks okay. It's down a little bit here today. It's at this pivot. I'm not crazy about it, but we'll see what it does. The steel, this steel has been doing well. This was naked puts. Since it was kind of lower high, lower low, it was naked puts at 110. So that's great. TX. That was a long. That looks good. Backed off a little at the end of the day yesterday. Looks like that dot looks like it's gapping up there. So that looks good. And VSTO. That's popping up here. That's a long. Well, that looks decent. Whatever, outdoor furniture. And ABBV was on the list for today. If it could take out these highs, that's not happening. But you can see the little bottom action there and the bottoming tail bar. And then it gapped up and kind of like this isn't a 1, 2, 3, 4, because this isn't a wide range bar. But it's the idea of a break, kind of a breakout, right? It's kind of a small bar, but yesterday was a bottoming tail bar that took out the low. So, and then it became a bottoming tail bar. So buyers stepped up, which shows, hey, there's demand down here. So now we've got an alert set up here, and we'll see if it can take that out to move higher. And look at the weekly chart. You know, here's your wide range bar, sideways, the idea or concept of sideways at the top of a wide range bar and starting to move up. It's got a void, you know, held at 200 on the 20. It's stuck at the 50, but if it takes this out, I think it's a good setup, right, for that. MAR, that was a short. Got a trade under here. Looks like it's triggering. So that looks good. And TJX, I posted take an initial position here. I typed in Telegram at the end of the day. Let's do a third. It actually did looks like it traded under it, tickled underneath there, maybe at the end of the day. So this was a big breakdown. as you can see, under these pivots, and then jiggling around there, gapped up, and that looks lower. And well, that is about it. There's plenty of other things that are moving around here. You can look at some gaps. I have a list here. Let me sort the gappers. I'm not interested in that. This is gapping down. This might be a bit of a shock. TPH. Nah, it's too strong of an uptrend. It's gapping. Just looking for other things. Well, you saw RIVN. That's starting to recover a little bit. This is one of Sam's earnings plays. It's not too severe a gap. I don't know what the premium was, but we'll see if this winds up surviving. They said, what was their news? They were having problems with trucks. So, and their earnings weren't, what did they lose? How many billions? For solar. That is, wow. That's a big gap. You can't do anything with that. But, I got enough to keep an eye on here. Just looking through the list. Oops. Maybe NVIDIA. There's so many. I mentioned this yesterday for a call spread up above here, and it was mentioned that they're having some conference today. Well, that said, hey, let's stay away because of the risk, but that's moving lower. And, that has the potential for, if it starts to roll over and the market rolls over, that'll definitely be a call spread because there was good premium in that yesterday. Let's see if that doesn't evaporate. And there's plenty of oil stocks that were looking like they were going to go lower, but crude oil, so a lot of them had nasty days yesterday. I was surprised to see that. See Halliburton, that looks like it's going lower because USO and crude oil was kind of just dangling there doing nothing. You got this big head and shoulders top, but it's in the middle of the range. Still don't know which way it's going to go. And look at the weekly chart. What a mess that is. SMH, most things look like they're going to go down, but again, I'm just mentioning this news. Don't forget it because it could be just a big whipsaw here. So that's it. We'll see what today brings. Those of you on the social media, MT Live is today at 12 o'clock, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. So log in there. Here's the link. You could want to be in the room. Otherwise, we will be there on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and so on. So we'll talk to you guys later.